Once upon a time, in an age known to archaeologists as the early 1970s period, there was a place of wonder and magic known as Killarney Provincial Park. It was here, on a summer vacation with their families, in 1972, that two teenagers would meet for the first time who would go on to change the course of history. When the families returned the following year, in an attempt to make the world's first adventure YouTube film, these two kids would be busy planning something far greater. They would go on to make
a YouTube producer and my future fiance. Hi everyone, Sugar Pie here. It's time for another amateur adventure, and I'm looking forward to telling you all about it.
For this adventure, I dragged Sugar Pie out of bed yet again and drove almost 500 kilometers north to Black Bear Country in Killarney Provincial Park.
This was our second trip to the park this summer.
The last time we were here, we climbed the highest point in the park, Silver Peak.
It was so beautiful.
And we had such a good time that it was a little disappointing to have only spent the one day here.
This trip would be different.
This time we booked a site inside the campground for 3 nights and would set out to use as much of that time as we could to take it all in.
Over the next few days,
now there's a view.
We would hike the 2.9 kilometer Granite Ridge trail. We would hit the water for the first time in a while for an epic 16 kilometer paddle to O.S.A. Lake and back.
We would hike the park's most popular trail, known as the Crat, to take in some of the best views in Ontario.
We did the Granite Ridge Trail a second time to see the early autumn colors in the evening on our last night in the park. And before making the trip home, we hiked a small part of the Lacrosse Silhouette Trail to beautiful Lumon Lake.
Our first day started a little on the rainy side.
Not wanting to set up camp in the wet, we set out on our first hike of the weekend instead and walked the very pretty Cranberry Bog trail.
It's going good.
Where are you?
We're at Killarney Provincial Park.
What are you doing?
We're hiking.
Hiking what?
Forget the trail name. Cranberry Bog Trail. It's really pretty, and we see a really cool mushroom. It's like something from Alice in Wonderland or something. Or Mario.
You have a bite of that?
It certainly wasn't me that took a bite out of it.
I once called Killarney the Mushroom Kingdom. It definitely lived up to that title again.
Damn!
As the day improved, we got camp set up before heading down to the water to prepare for what lay ahead.
It's been several weeks since we last used the boat, and this was now my 3rd time in the kayak ever. The last time we hit the water, we paddled 6 kilometers total across Bell Lake and back when we went to Silver Peak.
This time we would be paddling about 16 kilometers from the campground
Across George Lake,
through the lily pads of Freeland Lake,
around a section of the beautiful Killarney Lake,
to the shore of O.S.A. Lake for an amazing view of the setting sun.
and back.
I felt it was important to spend whatever time we had left this evening to just let her play around in the water and get comfortable and a feel for the boat.
I was a little intimidated at first being on a kayak on my own. I would go out a little way, turn back and head for shore.
A little further each time though.
Much to the amusement of some. Eventually I got the hang of things and realized I might not go down like the Titanic or get swallowed up by a kraken after all. I even found the courage to paddle out far enough and see what was around the point.
With the sun going down, I called Sugar Pie back to the dock so we could call it a day. And get ready for what tomorrow brought. Alright, before you get out, how was that solo adventure?
A lot of it was fun, and then there was parts of it that was very peaceful. It was really cool. We got to see a crane. It was beautiful.
Cool.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to Killarney Provincial Park for what will be the toughest day of our weekend.
Today is day 2 for Killarney, and today we're gonna try to paddle out to
Today we're going to kayak through George Lake, Freeland Lake, and Killarney Lake before a short walk to the beautiful
O.S.A. Lake. O.S.A. Lake. This is this is my first trip. This is the first trip in a kayak since Silver Peak, and so I'm excited and nervous.
Much like day 1, the morning greeted us with more rain. After doing some other things and waiting it out, it was now late afternoon and we had a long way to go.
Starting with George Lake. As we made our way into the lake, I took the opportunity to work on my technique. it will need some more work. All the hiking and biking and backpacking did not prepare me for the upper body workout that I was gonna get today.
From the campground beaches, you can see less than half of George Lake. It's so much bigger than it looks from there.
We're headed for the one that looks like a turtle. The more comfortable I got in the boat, the more fun I had.
Wow, look how this rock. Gosh, it doesn't take long for your arms to get tired, though.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, it doesn't take long for my arms to get tired. We're headed straight for a walk. We did it!
In the middle of George Lake, my cameraman spins the boat for a 360-degree view. It was so cool.
I also took a moment to discuss paddling technique. I wanted to show her how to keep a rhythm. To keep the boat straight, she would paddle the same side repeatedly, losing her rhythm and often
And causing us to hit paddles.
I explained that using more or less force on one side or another works better.
The rest of our paddle across George Lake went well.
Before long, the dock was in sight.
Yeah, I see the dock. Go straight down in a second.
We made it across George Lake.
The next part was to take the boat out of the water and walk it 100 meters to Freeland Lake.
Yep. this would be the easiest paddle of the trip.
Lumon Lake is the shallowest of the lakes we would paddle across, making it the most calm and peaceful.
That's not to say it wasn't a lot of work still.
Most of the lake is covered in lily pads with clear, narrow lanes to paddle through.
It didn't take long before we were across.
The paddle through Freeland's Lake. Freeland Lake was pretty good. It was pretty smooth up until the end, where we were kind of just dragging and we couldn't really get too close to the shoreline. I actually stood on a log trying to get in and not wet, but only got a little bit wet, so it worked out.
Having crossed and gotten out of Freeland Lake, we took the boat out of the water again and made our way up to Killarney Lake.
Between the lakes, there was this cool little surprise. And Killarney Lake is gorgeous too.
We're at Killarney Lake.
It's also quite big, and we would have to wind our way around a good bit of it.
I thought I should pretend to study the map before setting off.
While paddling across the lake that shares the name of the park it's in, the nearby town, and entire region, I can't help but to think how fitting it is. Everything about what makes this area so amazing is right here on this lake.
As we wind our way in, another breathtaking moment.
As we neared the end of this section we were in, I decided to have one more look at the map.
Up front here.
So we headed to a tiny nearby island so we could get out and have a look.
Without risk of dropping it to float away and sink.
I found our course through the last windy bits.
And we were off one more time. As we made it further into the lake, the sky cleared up and the scenery got more and more amazing. Until I couldn't see anything at all. Sunglasses would have helped a lot.
The evening was looking to be really nice.
I wish I could have seen it.
As we approached the end of the lake, the sunlight actually made it a bit difficult to spot the landing area.
But we made it.
This was as far as we would paddle. This time we left the boat behind and would make our way down the portage route to the shore of O.S.A. Lake on the other side.
Days of rain made this part a little tricky.
O.S.A. Lake.
O.S.A. stands for Ontario Society of Artists, and it's named after this group. You would expect the lake name to honor artists to be pretty.
And it is pretty amazing. Whoa, did someone do dishes?
With the sun going down and a long way to paddle to get back to camp, it was time to say goodbye to O.S.A. Lake.
Out of all the adventures and journeys I've done to this point, this one is very special to me. Maybe it's because I was able to put my fears aside again for another adventure. Maybe it's because we didn't get back to camp until way after dark. Or maybe it's because I'm really starting to appreciate how big and beautiful the world is when you're willing to go have a look. I don't know.
Hi, today is day 3 and today we're gonna hike the Crack.
The Crack Trail is about 7.5 kilometers to the top and back and is surely the park's most popular trail. How you doing?
Good. I'm enjoying the hike. It's a nice trail. It's a nice trail so far. It's got a lot of trees and that, but the path is very, very easy right now.
The trail starts out on an old logging road.
I'm hoping that it will warm up a little bit more.
Before long, we join up with a section of the La Cloche Silhouette Trail and the real hiking begins.
Starting at the root of it all.
We're so lucky. There's so many boardwalks on this trail. We're being so spoiled.
It was a good thing too. Days of rain made the trail quite muddy.
Oh, that's so pretty.
As the trail made its way alongside Lake Cockakees, we got plenty of views of this pretty little lake.
All the lakes in Killarney are so beautiful. Lake Cockakees is no exception.
Cockakees Lake is pretty. This looks like a flag. Oh, Canada. And so the climb begins. Yay, I got my wish, it did warm up. Today we really appreciate how nice it is. After about 2 days of light rain, we really appreciate the good weather. The stumps have gold on them. Okay, maybe it's not gold. Wouldn't need to decorate this tree for Christmas. This is what happens when you eat too many rocks.
The Crack Trail is a great day hike trail for a number of reasons.
Extremely obvious trail markers being one.
Oh, here comes the climb.
While there is some climbing to do, and even a little rock scrambling, most of the trail is pretty easy for the most part, and the sections that are difficult are short enough that you can make it through them in just a few minutes or so, being cautious.
Another marker you can't miss.
Once we were about halfway up onto the exposed rocky sections, the view over the trees were a nice motivation to keep going.
Still a show off. Our first clear view came just a few minutes later, and we still had a little way to go yet.
Breathtaking. The view is breathtaking. The reason why we got our raincoats back on is it started to rain, but now it's just slightly raining.
Walking over wet and muddy ground, while not ideal, isn't really all that risky or dangerous.
Walking and climbing on wet rock and stones, however,
The rain thankfully didn't last very long.
and had stopped by the time we went into the last and toughest part of the climb.
The question was, how wet would the rocks be?
Some of the rocks were damp, but thankfully not all that bad.
I can't imagine trying this when it's completely wet.
Threat of broken or sprained ankles aside,
This was a lot of fun. We made it!
Wow.
and what a view.
Below is Killarney Lake.
To the south, the northern coast of Georgian Bay.
And to the west, our second look at the beautiful O.S.A. Lake.
The evening before, we paddled through Killarney Lake below on our way to the shore of O.S.A. Lake.
Seeing them from this vantage point was really cool.
You might be wondering how a trail gets a name like the Crack.
What else would you call this?
On our way up, there was actually a small line of people on both ends of the crack itself waiting to get through.
On our way down, we had it all to ourselves. Killarney Provincial Park is an amazing place to visit. If you enjoy nature and the outdoors, I can't think of a nicer place to visit here in Northern Ontario.
With this being our last night in the park, we decided we should hit the short but beautiful Granite Ridge Trail one more time and maybe catch a beautiful sunset in the process.
So during this trail, we're not going to make it back before dark, but we're doing that on purpose because we actually want to try hiking in the dark just in case we ever had to. And this is really pretty close to our campground, and it would make for really good practice, we feel. And it's not too long of a trail either, so here we go.
This would be our second hike up to Granite Ridge. The morning before, in the rain, we decided rather than standing around camp being wet and cold,
we would rather be out exploring the park, being wet and cold.
so we put on the raincoats and made the short climb up to have a look around. You probably wouldn't choose a wet and rainy morning to come up here, but
Oh, wow.
I'm really glad that we did.
Is this ever cool? The mist. This is neat.
with much nicer weather than the morning before,
We were off again. This is quite a nice little trail here. Some roots to help with the mud, so that's nice. They can also trip you up, but that's okay. We did this trail yesterday in the rain, and well, things haven't really gotten that much better. Lots of mud to trample through. I love boardwalks.
part of the trail is an old logging road.
But before long, it becomes a more proper hiking trail. Help me, I think I'm starting to like climbing.
rocks.
You can get a running jump. You can do a running jump that far. This is why we do this. This view is amazing. This is a great time of year to be here because all the leaves are starting to turn, so it's like beautiful. The sun is beginning to start to go down, so we might see a sunset. The views on the Granite Ridge Trail are to the north, south, and west, and are really worth the short hike.
You can really see the red in the trees. So unfortunately, it's actually a little bit cloudy. So this is about as good as a sunset as we're gonna get. But so we're gonna take a look at it and then we're gonna turn back and go. It's nice to see the pink clouds. Rockin' staircases. Has anybody figured out why they call it Granite Ridge?
far this trail has been really fun. Now it's just starting to look a little bit dark, but it's not quite dark out yet. Thanks for coming along on this adventure with us. All right, we made it back to the super easy part of the trail. Just as it's getting dark.
We have one last day here before we go home.
So join us again and we'll do one more hike as we say goodbye to this amazing place. We made it out. Sorry we didn't get a good sunset for you, but it was still a lot of fun on this trail. Back to camp for coffee and marshmallows. Hi everyone, welcome back to Killarney Provincial Park for our last adventure of our super fun weekend.
Before we got started though, we had some packing up to do.
One of us did anyways.
Since this is all still pretty new to Sugar Pie, and I didn't want to do it, I told her it would be a great experience to have her take the tent apart.
Swear I'm much less awkward when the camera's off.
She's exactly this awkward when the camera is off.
Eventually the camp is packed up and I pretend to check the map one more time.
This is our last day, and we just got everything all packed up, and now we're just planning our last adventure. We have had a pretty terrific weekend, and I think today is going to be pretty great because the weather is actually finally looking nicer, so yay!
So today's day 4 of Sugar Pie's adventure here in Killarney, and running out of things to do. Okay, so not even close, but original plan was to go to Silver Peak, but it's a little bit windy, so we changed that up. We're gonna go hike the La Cloche Silhouette Trail this afternoon. Yeah, or at least as far as we can get in 2.5 hours before we turn around and make the ride home. Ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready to go.
Right.
Ready for another hike.
Alright, let's go. La Cloche Silhouette Trail from George Lake, at least as far as we can go in the first couple hours, or when one of us breaks an ankle on these roots or rocks, then we turn around, maybe. Attention day hikers, beyond lies roots, rocks, mud, and pits of death. Turn back now. Okay, no. That's what I should say probably though. I'd still do it. You?
I don't know.
This is really pretty. It's like a nice bright green. Look at the day's worth of skill and agility that she's gained as she traverses these rocks. Without the use of her hiking poles at that. How about that? Lots of these yesterday on Granite Ridge. Cheating in my books. But, you know, Sugar Pie don't like trudging through the mud, so across the boardwalk she goes.
Woo-hoo. Just gotta get there first.
Well, what do we got here?
Today it's pretty fun playing Jump the Rocks.
Yeah, they're dry for the first time all weekend. It's like the weirdest sound, huh?
Actually, I wouldn't say it's the weirdest, it's just, yeah, quite a sound.
If anybody knows what it is, leave a comment, please. Check out this lazy tree just like leaning on the rocks.
Hey, the tree's relaxing.
So here's something we haven't really actually seen a whole lot of, at least on any of the hiking parts of our weekend. There's a sun up there, folks. Who knew? A big warming light in the sky. How's that feel?
Very nice. Feels so nice and warm.
It's a good change. Nice way to end our adventure weekend. Oh, somebody went to a little effort for this boardwalk. It's curved. That was disappointing, folks.
You were hoping that I would fall.
Oh, well, at least get muddy feet. You know, for ratings. Well, this is one of the easier bits of trail that we've done in a little bit, huh?
Yeah, it actually is tricky.
A little bit, yeah, the ground's cut. Well, that's because it's rained for a week.
Well, yeah.
I would imagine, I don't know if that's the case, but I would think that when all these leaves up here fall in a couple weeks or so, unless the chipmunks all come out and do their bit raking shit up, that it's going to be hard to see these roots. They're going to get buried in leaves, and anybody walking is going to trip on their ass over and over again. At least I certainly would, and I know Sugar Pie would.
Yeah, I would.
Alright, let's see if she can traverse the Canyon of Death here. Look at that backpacking experience paying off there, folks. Makes it look easy. Well, this is kind of like a obstacle course from Survivor or something here. Go reconnect the boardwalk.
Oh, this looks like fun.
Let's see how she does. Seamless to the first boards. Oop. Just up onto the second board. Ooh, doesn't fall off when it does the seesaw on her. Onto the... God, how far does that go? How good would it have been to come around the corner, laying in the mud right there? Right?
I don't think so.
Oh, there's your spirit of adventure.
How about you be the one that falls on your butt?
Okay, so let's see what Sugar Pie does here. There's two paths through the mud. Well, one path through the mud and one path around the mud. Let's see.
Yeah, this is pretty muddy.
Through bone dry. She did go through the middle. I would have thought she would have went around this way, but being it's like no challenge and much drier.
My way was more fun.
Oh, okay. Noted. And I agree. It did look more fun. And disappointingly yet again, no muddy boots.
Oh, come on, we're hiking. You gotta get mud on your feet.
I know, and you haven't. That's what's disappointing. So, these have become a favorite recently, at least of mine, just entertainment wise. Alright, let's sit and watch. Well, that was a lot more boring than it could have been.
All right. Let's see if I can do it.
I bet you could fit under.
Yeah, I bet. Under.
Okay, now can you do it in limbo? Do the limbo. How low can you go?
You are funny.
Uh,
Let's see you limbo under it.
I'm gonna go over it. Are you gonna go over it too?
Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can go over.
Here you go. Well, yeah, of course, if you go follow it to the end far enough where it's just a tiny twig, you're gonna get over it just fine.
Well, it's the smart way of doing it.
I thought you were coming over to try the challenging way of doing it.
It is. Hey, it is a challenge to me. Jerk.
My turn. I'm a little bit taller than the Sugar Pie, so let's see how this goes. On it. See? There we go. Just like that.
Show off.
Onward. Onward, bitter young lady. This is the stuff that's become the norm for us, right? from rocks to roots to mud, from rocks to roots to mud, climbing up, down.
All around.
There you go. And you like it, right?
I do. It certainly grows on you.
Okay, let's see how you tackle these roots, or rocks, or whichever path you choose. She goes for the rocks. Wow, that's like step 1, step 2, step 3, step. That was just too easy. Alright, whatever.
I'm gonna lose the jacket.
So I have no idea, insert number of kilometers up at the top of the screen from George Lake, and we're on a little side trail to the first camp we've come by, right? And we know the camp is probably on a lake, so it'd be cool if it's not occupied. We can just kind of chill out for a few minutes, but if it is, we'll take a look at the lake and the sights, and then we'll move on. Well, that was rather anticlimactic, wasn't it? Wow, not sure I was expecting this.
Wow, that's pretty high.
Think you can jump off?
I think I could, but I'm not going to.
Oh.
I don't know the geological reason for this rock to look like this.
But it's really cool looking.
Okay, so that was Lumsden Lake, yet another lake on our whirlwind Killarney adventure weekend. That lasted 4 days and 3 nights. And now we're just gonna head back to the car and head home. So how's that sound? How was Lumsden Lake?
It was beautiful. It was really nice to come here. It's a very nice last thing to do. Very last little treasure there.
There it is, George Lake. Yeah, eastern beach. We're pretty close to the western beach.
When we planned this trip, I was excited because Killarney is a beautiful and amazing place. What excited me most, though, was getting to spend some time at a place so important to the formation and history of the family I'll soon be a member of. Hiking the same trails, paddling through the same lakes, and climbing the same mountains as so many of this family before, I can't help but to feel closer to all of them. Those I haven't met, and those who sadly have left us before I could. It is not hard to understand what drew them back here again and again. This place not only brings families together, it creates them. It is magic.